Hello and welcome to the Midway podcast.
This is our mini podcast in which we cover anything we missed last time, we share your feedback and we solve your problems.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Jen.
Let's get started.
Do you have any extra information for us that we might have missed in our main podcast about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
I do have one remaining fact. And it is that Walt Disney got a Special Achievement Prize at the 1939 Academy Awards, and he received a full-size Oscar and 7 small ones to represent Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
That is very sweet.
It is very sweet.
One thing that I missed last time was about the soundtrack to this film. This was actually one of the first films which had a soundtrack along with it. And so at that time, Disney didn't have a production studio or whatever goes into making a soundtrack, so they had another company, Bourne Company, make it for them. Later on, after the Walt Disney Studio did have their own, what's it called, where they make music?
Recording studio.
Yes. Later on, when Walt Disney Company did have their own recording studio, they managed to acquire back the rights to almost all of their films, and actually Snow White is the only film of which they do not own the soundtrack rights to this day.
That's really interesting. Speaking of the songs, it reminded me that I made a couple of notes about the film, and I remember writing down that the prince has a surprising singing voice. I don't know what I meant by that. Perhaps it's deeper than I was expecting, but He
does have a surprising singing voice, but I think when I say surprising, I just mean he has a really good, strong, clear singing voice, and you might have maybe meant something else, because as I said, I thought actually all Disney heroes who sing have that strong, clear voice.
I just wonder whether I was expecting perhaps a lighter voice because he's only supposed to be young. He's not sort of a mature man, is he? He's a young, handsome prince. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was surprised.
I hope he is a young prince, because Snow White is the youngest Disney princess at only 14 years old, so I hope he's very, very young, and his voice is in fact just surprisingly mature for a young man.
One of my other notes that I wrote, when the wicked stepmother is watching Snow White and the prince together, and she has those full-length curtains that she thrusts closed.
Oh, I love how she holds herself.
I just wrote the note that there are not enough full-length curtains in my life.
I have full-length curtains in this room, but they aren't on curtain hook things, so they don't swish easily. You have to give them a good old pull.
So you can't be dramatic with them.
I don't think I can be dramatic. Another thing that the Queen really works, which is dramatic, is her cape. And I love that when she runs down the stairs, it all flies out behind her. She has great style. You look like you disagree. I don't think you can disagree with a cape.
I don't. Oh, no, I would never disagree with a cape.
The Incredibles.
Goodness me. However, I don't know. I think it's something to do with the fact that you can't see very much of her because she's got that big collar and she's got all her hair covered and everything. And obviously that was the style whenever, but...
1812. Would you have been happier if you'd seen more hair?
That's something that actually I wanted to bring up. Is Snow White the only short-haired Disney princess?
I was thinking that as I was watching it, and I really can't think of any other short-haired ones.
And was it because animating hair was too difficult?
That's an interesting point.
And
maybe
not one
it
I
was
can answer.
Because her hair, her hair is obviously really short, but it also is almost like a little bubble when she's primping it. It doesn't move in any sort of real hair way. So I wonder if they did that just because that was an easy way to give her some hair.
Possible. Perhaps it was fashionable at the time as well, a shortcut.
Yeah, perhaps it was.
In the 30s, I think it probably was.
Do you think the film would have been better if they had just carried on calling her Sneewitchin? I think that's a really cute name.
No.
Sneewitchin.
I would like to mention a book, and it's called Pictures of the Night. It's actually part of a trilogy. It's known by different names. I believe it's now called the Happily Ever After trilogy, but I think it was called the Edgerton Hall trilogy originally. And it's about 3 friends, Bella, Megan and Alice, and they share a room at boarding school, but each book is an individual story about those specific girls. One's based on Rapunzel, one's based loosely on Sleeping Beauty, and Pictures of the Night is based on Snow White. Bella is the heroine of the story, and she believes her stepmother may actually be trying to kill her. But it's really worth reading. It's by Adele Geras, who's a great author. It's probably 13 plus, just with some of the topics that it deals with. But it's worth having a look. And if you know me, I will quite happily lend it to you.
I do know you, and I do love to read, and I do love to read young adult fiction, so...
I will quite happily lend them to you.
Sign me up. Thank you.
That's a pleasure. There's one other thing that I need to say about Snow White, or Blanche-Neige, as she is in France, specifically Disneyland Paris. The witch character appears in the ride several times, but at one point she shouts what my friend Liz and I interpreted as shiny poms. Now, obviously, pom is apple, and I can't imagine she is shouting shiny, because that would not be a French word. However, that's what we heard, and Snow White ride is known to Liz and I as Shiny Pom.
Shiny Pom.
I also met the hag. We were standing waiting for the parade in Disneyland Paris one Halloween, and the villains were out meeting the crowd, and the hag came up to us and was going, Snow White! Snow White! And I was with Chris and Laura, and they pointed at me as if I was Snow White. And I had a bit of conversation with the witch about her trying to give me an apple, and I was going, oh no, you're all right, thanks, I've just eaten. And then off she went.
That's a good story,
Thank
and I'm
you.
glad she didn't give you a poisoned apple.
I'm glad she didn't, because that would have been a rubbish holiday.
That would. And also, then you would have had to be dropped in your coffin to dislodge the piece of apple from your throat, or hang around waiting for true love's kiss.
None of which you want to do while you're at Disney.
No, I mean, you just want to enjoy your holiday.
Yeah, go on
You
Pirates
definitely
of the
don't.
Caribbean.
You don't want to die or go into any kind of stasis or suspended animation. You want to be able to enjoy your trip. Thanks, but no thanks, old hag witch.
We'll move on to the next section, which is problem solving.
Yes, a section in which we solve all of your Disney problems.
So, Jen, what's a Disney problem?
Well, perhaps your loved one doesn't want to go on a Disney holiday with you, or maybe just doesn't want to watch Disney films with you. We can give you some pointers on how to compromise on that more in your favour.
Or perhaps you've just watched a Disney film and there's something in it that you don't understand that you want clarified. We can do that for you. All you have to do is get in touch with us on Twitter,
which is KJDPod, or by email,
which is kjdpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook.
So please, if you have any Disney-related problems, let us know, because we really want to solve those for you. And we love knowing other people's business. And we love to help.
We love all those things.
All of them.
The next section is called Disney Daydream. We all have times in our lives when we're bored, we're sitting around waiting for the bus or getting on a train to go to work, and we have a little Disney daydream. Well, we're going to facilitate that daydream for you right now by giving you something to daydream about, and we would love your feedback and your answers and explanations of your daydreams. Jen, are you ready for this week's Disney daydream?
I'm ready to daydream.
You have to perform a Disney song. You've been gifted with the talent to hit all the right notes. What song are you going to sing?
I already have an answer for this, but I feel like I should wait until the main podcast to share my answer. Should I or should I not, Katie?
I think you should share it with us now.
Good, okay, well, I'm happy to. My knee-jerk reaction for if I could sing any Disney song with perfect pitch, as you've just promised, I would say Let It Go from Frozen, because her voice is amazing.
That's a very good song to choose.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine just belting that out and sounding like Idina Menzel?
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Let's all take a moment to imagine how good that would be before you think of your own answers. And Katie, do you have an answer right now? Would you like to know what I think yours should be?
I would love to know that.
Good, because as you said it, I also had in mind an idea for your answer as well as my own, because, caring is sharing. And I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago now, you were showing me some home videos, and one of them was you and your friends doing a kind of variety show, and part of it was you singing Colours of the Wind from Pocahontas, but you wouldn't actually let me watch that section of tape. So I think that should be your song, but obviously, as you didn't let me listen to that tape, you might already be able to hit all the notes from Colours of the Wind.
I can't hit all the notes.
Well, there you are then. That's a freebie from me. I'll sing Let It Go, and you can sing Colours of the Wind, and maybe we can put on a concert with some of the other answers which people can let us know about and which we'll read out on our main podcast next time.
Sounds good. The only thing left for us to do is to announce which film we'll be looking at in our next episode.
Exciting.
Would you like a drum roll?
If you can do one.
The Lion King.
I look forward to it.
Me too. So without further ado, we'll say goodbye. Don't forget that you can contact us on Twitter
at KJDPod or by email,
which is kjdpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook. Thank you very much for listening. This was the Midway podcast. I've been Katie.
And I've been Jan. And we look forward to sharing more of the magical world of Disney with you next time.
Bye.
Bye.